the performances in The Whale are astounding. And what writer-director Darren Aronofsky was able to pull out of them, it just exemplifies what a fantastic director and leader on set he is. Brendan Fraser delivers the best performance of his career. He tapped into a part of his soul I've never seen him deliver on screen before. And like I said in my review of the trailer, in his eyes, he is conveying so much through his eyes. This is a fantastic performance, and I believe, and there is stiff competition out there for him, but I believe that he is unbeatable in this Oscar race. Here's my review of The Whale. I can only imagine how difficult it is to pull off an adaptation of a stage play, to adapt it to screen, because the mediums are so different, and the muscles used for stage actors is a little different than the muscle used for, film actors and TV actors. I can only imagine. I think, though, that Darren Aronofsky pulled it off brilliantly in the same way that Denzel did with August Wilson's Fences, what Aaron Sorkin did in A Few Good Men, although he didn't direct that, David Mamet with Glenn Ross, and I liked Rent. I know a lot of audiences didn't like the feature film Rent because the stage play is so beloved, but I actually liked Rent. But stage adaptations to feature films, those in particular, seem so, not claustrophobic, but they seem so contained. And that's what I feel The Whale does. It is very contained, but I don't think that's because it's an adaptation of a stage play. I think it's contained on purpose to bring the audience along on this journey. So Brendan Fraser plays this morbidly obese man named Charlie with 1 week to live, he's dealing with some inner demons because he has abandoned his family for a man who kills himself because he is so convicted with all of the things he's been proselytized as a kid about because he is a homosexual. So he is convicted in what he believes that what he's doing is wrong, and so he kills himself. Now, that arc plays a huge part in the story, even though we don't see Charlie's love interest other than in pictures. So I think what Darren Aronofsky did brilliantly was to make the audiences tap into our own prejudices about what we see on the exterior in people, what we see, those prejudices, while being or not feeling as drowned as Charlie, but being surrounded by water, like a whale, but inside a whale too. And most of the film, it's raining. And there's always this claustrophobic feeling when you're, stuck inside and it's raining outside with nowhere to go. You are held captive in this situation with Charlie as we go on this journey of self-indulgence. So Charlie is an English professor and teaches on Zoom, and he tells his students that his equipment is damaged and that's why they can't see him, but he just doesn't want to show his face because he's ashamed not only of how he sees himself, but how the world sees him. And then you have Hong Chau, who, if she doesn't get a supporting actress nomination, it's a travesty. She's absolutely astounding in this role, and she's been great all year. She plays his best friend and also the sister. Her late brother was Charlie's love interest who killed himself because of those convictions, those religious convictions that he had because he was proselytized as a child. Grew up in this somewhat cult, religious cult. And so that was her brother, but she loves Charlie, and she's also a nurse. And so she, one day takes his blood pressure and, hears his heart and realizes that he is going to die any minute. And so we start the clock, the countdown to when Charlie's going to die. But he must come to terms with the fact that he abandoned his daughter and his wife. He abandoned his daughter for his lover, who ended up dying or killing himself, right? So he reaches out to his daughter to come and, get to know her with the little time he has, and to let her know that he is leaving, all of this money that he saved up for her college and for her. So Sadie Sink plays Charlie's daughter, estranged daughter. And to relieve his stress, he reads this essay that she wrote about Moby Dick when she was 8, a little girl. And her perspective was so rich and scholarly that it amazed him how brilliant and how smart she was at that young age. Well, she's suspended from school because her grades are slipping and she got into an altercation or whatever. So she comes to her dad, Charlie's house, because he's a professor. She wants him to write these essays so that she can get her grades up. Well, one thing leads to another, and he tells her, okay, I'll write it if you spend time with me. Now, a lot of people don't like Sadie Sink's turn, her arc in this film. Her performance is brilliant, but she comes off bratty. I appreciate her performance. This is a teenage girl who is devastated that her father abandoned her for someone else. Now, she has not seen her father. He has been estranged all this time when she really needed him. And he's been sitting on over $100,000 when she and her mother have been struggling. And not only is she a teenager, we've all been there, she's a teenager who was abandoned by her father and whose mother is drowning in liquor, drunk and depressed. And this is a teenager dealing with it all. So I like that it came from a young girl coming of age. This is the response you would get. It's not going to be perfect for her. It's going to be very difficult for her. Then she's dealing with other adults in her life at school. The counselor who doesn't believe in her, even though she's very brilliant, and teachers who are just casting her away because she's troubled. She's troubled because everybody's abandoned her. And I love her turn. She does so brilliantly in this film. And Hong Chau, as a nurse, is giving him what he wants in his last days. She's bringing food over to his house, even though she knows he's dying. And there's this one scene, there are no words. Brendan Fraser as Charlie, he is persuading Hong Chau's character to give him some food, to feed him, to let him die because he doesn't have the love of his life anymore. He has given it all away. There are so many Oscar moments in this film. There's this one scene where Charlie is just like, he's like, okay, I'll die any moment. I might as well reveal myself to these kids, to his students, because They're never going to change. The world is never going to change. They will always see me and people like me this way. I There wasn't a dry eye. And when he's begging, now here's the funny thing. I do not see Charlie as the protagonist. And maybe that's the disconnect with the audience. I don't believe that he's the protagonist. I don't believe that Sadie Sink's character is the protagonist, and I definitely don't think she's the anti-hero or she's the antagonist. And I don't think that Hong Chau's character is the antagonist either. I think this is a mirror. I think this is for us to understand that we contribute to the pain of people based on how we see them. I think the well has so many metaphors. I mean, it's a metaphor of Jonah in the Bible. It's a metaphor of Moby Dick. It's a metaphor of being stuck in a well like Joseph in the Bible in Genesis, the well, like a physical water well. It's a brilliant film. I hope that it gets nominated for Best Picture. I think Darren Aronofsky deserves a Best Director nomination. The emotional depths that Elaine Chao and Sadie Sink go to deliver these performances are cinematic magic. I hope they are not overlooked for Oscars. And Brendan, as I said, is unbeatable. Every beat of this film, through his eyes, through his mannerisms, all of the emotions, the sweat. There's this one scene in the end where there's like this quaking in his apartment as he walks to his daughter, because his daughter taunts him to say, get up without, assistance and come to me. And he, at every step, is a quake, as if there's a well coming out of the ocean onto dry land about to die. Brendan Fraser delivers the best performance of the year. I think he is unbeatable and he is deserving. I've seen everything except for The Sun. Brendan Fraser is deserving of this Oscar nomination, aside from what he's been through, aside from, his career. This specific performance is the best of the year, and he not only deserves this Oscar, I believe he's going to win it.